Good morning, everyone. Good morning. This is Joshua Brown. I am the digital marketing consultant for BIS Designs, and I wanted to start off by thanking you all for attending our seminar this morning about the intro to Google and SEO. To start us off, I want to go ahead and give you some information to help you along the way. As you're logging in, I'll also put this in the chat. If you have not given us your name when you logged in, please do put in the chat your name so that we can know who you are, because at 10:45 a.m. we will order the pizza and have the pizza sent to you. So we would like to know exactly who we're sending the pizza to. Also, we're going to keep all of your mics muted throughout the seminar. And if you have questions as we go along, please enter your questions into the chat. And as you enter your questions into the chat, I will stop the presenters and ask those questions for you. The last thing is that we will also be sending out a survey for you to complete. The survey will be included into the chat, and it will also be emailed to you after the seminar is over. This survey will give you would need to answer back things that you found that were interesting, things that you may have some more questions on, and we will follow up with you to address your concerns. Now, once again, I'd like to thank you. I see people are still joining in. I'd like to thank you for joining us this morning as we begin our seminar for the intro to Google and SEO. So let's go ahead and let's get started. And we'll kick it off with the intro of Phillip Long. Phillip Long is our CEO. Phillip Long is an entrepreneur who specializes in technology and marketing solutions along the Gulf Coast, from Gulf Breeze, Florida, all the way to Gulfport, Mississippi. Phillip has worked in the IT and marketing industries for over 20 years. BIS has over 600 clients from Mississippi to Pensacola, all the way up to Auburn. Phillip Long is also the current owner of 5 businesses, so he understands all of the struggles and all of the rewards that business owners face in our local market. He also is a certified information systems security professional. That gives him that extra credit of how much he knows about the IT and cybersecurity. Phillip Long will be one of our main presenters today. Phillip, would you like to go ahead and say hi to everybody?
Yeah. Good morning. Thank you, Josh, and thank everybody for attending. Look forward to really, taking a deep dive here for the next 60 minutes or so.
All right. Thank you, Phillip. And so that is Phillip Long. And then our other presenter is Miss Kenley Sweet. Kenley Sweet is our social media manager. She provides effective digital marketing strategies for local businesses within our territory. Kenley Sweet is also a graduate from the University of South Alabama. She manages over 20 social media accounts, and she also has previously managed over 50 plus social media accounts locally and nationally. Kenley studied communication and marketing at the University of South Alabama, which is my alma mater as well. So Kenley, would you like to go ahead and say hello to everyone?
Yes, hello, good morning, and go Jags.
There we go. So I'm going to turn it over to Phillip Long at this point. And once again, my name is Joshua Brown. I'm the digital marketing consultant for BIS Designs. If you have any questions along the way, please feel free to insert them in the chat, and I will ask the questions for you. And Phillip Long, I'll go ahead and hand it to you.
Great, guys, and appreciate again you joining. Thank you for Kenley, and Kenley also she just passed her certification. It's been a few months back for as a SEO Google certified SEO expert. So she's really growing into her position, and in this arena she's going to have a lot to offer. To give you guys just kind of a layout, I want to kind of present really kind of a top level view, a 30,000 foot view, if you will, of really the landscape in marketing and SEO in general. And then I want to turn it over to Kenley, and she's going to kind of take a deeper dive into some very practical ways that you're going to be able to help drive that the traffic to your site by using some SEO tips. Well, we'll start off with really what is SEO. This is something that most people at this juncture in time is pretty familiar. You say SEO, it's a pretty common word. Of course, you know, if you would have probably done that 15 years ago, that word wasn't even invented yet. So a new term in relation to language, but ultimately it's search engine optimization. And in the very rawest of forms, it's you know, getting your listing high on a search engine like Google is a very basic way of understanding that. And ultimately, there's a technique or a strategy behind how you do that. And it's really, in one regard, on this side of the world where most of us sit, is somewhat blind because Google, let's use Google, and I'll use Google because it's probably 85+% of search engines of searches happen on Google's platform. So we'll kind of speak, you know, what they don't want us to do is figure out how to artificially, you know, rig the situation towards our business. And because that wouldn't be right. You know, say you didn't have a lot to offer and you found some slick way to get yourself all the way to the top of Google. The people are clicking on your website. You really don't have what they're looking for. That's going to make Google not be where 85% of the world uses their engine. So they have to continually be searching the market and trying to figure out ways to bring relative content based off of a keyword or a key phrase that is put into their box and the search button is pressed. So in a lot of ways, it's blind to us, but there's some very general principles that remain that we are going to talk about today about how it works. But there isn't really, Google doesn't say, well, here's exactly how you get yourself to #1 on Google, because they want to hold those cards, because as people figure out their algorithms, they change them so no one can game the system. And if you guys have questions, Josh will be watching that the chat box, and I want to make sure that I'm effectively communicating. And so if you have questions or need more clarification, put it in the chat box. Josh will interrupt me and basically ask so that we can be sure that this is meaningful. So kind of moving on with that. The Google being the biggest, Bing being second, Yahoo being third, and the world does change. Yahoo actually was the largest search engine at one point in time, and they didn't maintain that. They're now third. So ultimately what we're looking at here is a basic search for a plumbing service in plumbing, Pensacola, Florida. And what we're going to see is the basic keywords that are being used. That's what we call as a keyword, or it could even be a key phrase or keyword phrase that's out there. And then up top, we see these are ads, and they'll have that little ad beside them, the little box there that says ad, and those are what is referred to as ad, or a lot of times they call it PPC, or pay-per-click. And ultimately what happens when you click that, that's going to charge the #1 up at the top is the ultimate plumbing or whatever. And so what we've got there is, my phone just started silence it, forgive me. What we've got is they're paying some number or some dollar amount every time that you click on that ultimate plumbing in those boxes. And that's really relative based on the number of people that are paying for that keyword. It's traditional capitalism at work here, supply and demand. In the plumbing industry, that's a pretty hot industry. The air conditioning industry, that's a pretty hot industry as it relates to people buying those keywords. So as more people buy those keywords from Google, the price per click goes up. And below, you see there is the map. and there are two different searches that can be measured, and not necessarily if you do well in the the listing below where we're going to show you organic, would you necessarily show there in the mapping. So there's some they're really looked at as two separate products as far as the way the map works, and pay-per-click, and also the organic searches. So there's your map, and that's in order to get listed there, you have to have yourself registered in the Google My Business listings, and Kenley's going to talk a lot more about that a little bit later. All right, and then below we have, of course, what we call our organic search results. That's where you're not paying for that. That's just where you're going to show up based off how well your site is constructed, and we'll talk about that a little bit more. All right, so there's a strategy that really won't work, and the yellow pages is one of them. I don't know, I usually, if we do this live, like a lot of times with this live, I'll have people raise their hand, and you can, I guess, virtually raise your hand and put in the chat there how many of you guys still have yellow pages. And what I find is very few people. And I can remember whenever we as a company went through that, we were, I was afraid. I was very afraid to stop advertising in the yellow pages, and we just quit cold turkey. And the reality is, even with all the advertising we do on social media, on search engine, we are paying a fraction of the cost of what I used to spend in those yellow pages. So this is definitely a more relative means of advertising today than yellow pages for sure, and it's also extremely less expensive. So that's really a big deal there. All right, let's talk about having a SEO-friendly website. And there's a lot of websites that are out in the world today. The world has really shifted. If you were to look back 5 years ago, 10 years ago, just having a website was enough because there wasn't a lot of advertising going on. And now it's really about lead generation and driving those inbound leads and things of that nature. And so the website isn't as important as it once was, because a lot of it has shifted to the pay-per-click, and also driving those leads in with social media. But if you go get a Wix website and you build it, and even if you're a pretty good designer, it will not perform well in the search engines, and there's some reasons why. One thing is, you're really, if you were to think about web pages and having it related to two separate audiences, where you have one audience that is the human that is looking and searching, and then the other audience is, let's just say, Google, the person that owns the search engine. Because you want to have images and videos that are crisp and that tell a story about your website and all those kind of things, and are intriguing and draw people inward. And then really on the back side, you want to name those images. So, you want to have really great images, you want to have great videos, which of course people are getting lazier and lazier, and videos really drive the day because people click on them. They watch them, they learn and gain information from them. It's definitely a medium by which people are using. Therefore, Google lets sites that have good looking images and videos, especially, they let them rise higher in the ranking, because again, they're wanting to provide relative content to the consumer based off of a short keyword or keyword phrases and pressing that search button. So it's really quite amazing what they're able to do in that. But videos are a big driver as it relates to ranking higher on search engine optimization. One other note I think that's important about videos is that, depending upon your particular vertical, what you do for a living, you may have to have very professional videos. We have a financial advisor, and for them, those guys, they need to have a very professional videos because of what they do. we also have a tree trimming service, and they can take a video with their camera, with their phone on their camera, or their camera on their phone rather, and that is perfect for the market. Now, they may not want to have that as a main link on the page, but definitely sharing that video, building a YouTube video library and having that content that links back to your web page is very, very, very smart. And I see so many people that are not taking advantage of that, and therefore they're suffering in the rankings. Another one is easy to follow navigation, because if you're not careful, you'll have a high bounce rate, which basically means somebody lands on your web page and they just bounce, they leave your page because they can't find what they're looking for. One of the kind of the concepts that we have is 5 things in 5 seconds. And ultimately, when they come to your web page, you want them to be told what to do, i.e., how you want them to contact you. It needs to tell them what makes you different about that, the perfect brew, family owned and operated. What is the we do that you do? Needs to have some kind of a form or something, contact us so that they're able to do it, and it needs to load quickly. So there's some things that every web page needs to have that's very important, and easy navigation so that they actually get drawn in and they act upon arrival at your website. Another thing for search engine optimization, and there's different statistics as to how it helps you, but it's really, really, really big, like 300 or 400% in if you have a blog. A blog is so important because it serves those two entities, if you will. One is your client or potential client, and that you're giving them relative information that is, substantive and means something to them, so they will read it. And you can also load it with keywords that the search engines are looking for in order to help rise you in the ranking. So a blog is really a great way to invest some time and money, because you're serving, you're killing 2 birds with 1 stone, if you will. And it doesn't have to be a huge blog. It can be a short blog that is, just a couple pages, and it links out to, here's some blogs that we've done that talk about that. And you can't see the whole blog here, but 300, 500 words. It doesn't have to be a lot. And then at the bottom, you can link it to other blogs that can, again, make you the authority on a particular topic. And it also, the interlinking between pages on your website helps you in search engines. It's very important. And then you can load this with keywords, and you can also connect it to your social media channels so that it's easy to share with other people, so that that blog can go, out into more marketplaces, which actually is creating backlinks to your website, which is another powerful tool in the overall ranking of your website. So links to other blogs, social media buttons, these things Google likes. This is basically the currency of search engine optimization. Another thing is you want to be very very keen on in today's world is mobile optimization. Basically, depending upon market segment that you're in, it is very high that people would search you based off of a phone or a tablet, a mobile device, not a full desktop. And in some markets, like in retail, it's 70-80%. So if your website is not mobile friendly or mobile optimized, you will not show up well in the ranking, because again, I'll go back to Google's goal is to provide relative content to their consumers based off of a short keyword or keyword phrases and the search button. So you really want to have a site that is that renders or shows up correctly on the phone so that they're able to easily see. And that's another area where you want to be very keen in your understanding of what you want them to do. You want to click the call button. You may want to have a couple of scrolling testimonials, things that are going to draw people in and get them to do the thing that you want them to do, which on most of the time on a mobile device, it's going to be, click the button to call. So you want to make that really, really, really easy, if you will. Let's see here. And then I want to just kind of end, and I'm going to turn this over to Christy. And here's a concept that I like to kind of lay out from a standpoint of looking at search engine optimization and social media. I look at search engine optimization as a what we'll call an active way to drive traffic to your business. You're going to be someone's going to be looking for your service or your goods or whatever, your product or service, because they're going to have type that in order to see that. So that's something that they're actively going to be looking for, which of course in that regard they're probably a much the probability of them buying that or whatever is going to be a lot higher than on social media, where it's going to be a passive thing. You know, we can force ads into their Facebook feed or their Instagram feed or in their LinkedIn feed. We can force ads in there that may entice them in order to click on it and then seek you out more. Or maybe the repetitiveness of seeing you when they do have that need, they may go and look for you. But SEO and ultimately ranking higher and doing pay-per-click are basically it's a shorter sales cycle, if you will, in that regard, in the fact that if they see you, they've searched for you, and if they click on you, their chances of buying is going to be a lot higher. So it's two different strategies, and I think that's the word that Kenley is going to talk about really is really strategies and how to understand, what the other guy is spending. And if they're able to outspend you, literally we're out performing companies that are spending 10 times higher on their marketing budget than we are, because we are being very strategic. And so you really need a partner, and that's why I'm going to go ahead and just turn this over to Kenley and let her take off from here. So Kenley, it's all yours, girl.
Awesome. Well, yes, all of that information is great. You want to make sure that you're implementing those 4 things that we went over on your website. A lot of those things are things you can add to your website, you can adjust, that are easy to do. They're very easy steps that you can kind of take to start the optimization process. But now that you've implemented those 4 things, how in the heck do you get ranked higher? Because of course, most of you are aware, when you go on Google, sometimes there's 10 pages of results. And it's really difficult for most people to understand how in the world do you get your website up higher. So we're going to go over some different things, some different tips. Some of them are going to be a little more technical, but we're going to go over some great things that you can do to kind of boost your rankings, your organic rankings on search engines. So the first thing is optimizing your metadata. And I know that sounds a little techie, to most, but basically what your metadata is what shows up on the search rankings. When you type in, for example, here, Perdido Key Chamber, it is what your audience and your viewers see. So although it may be a back-end strategy, it may be something that you do on the back end of your site, ultimately it is what Google takes and shows to your viewers, to the people that are searching on Google. So for instance, here you can see they have their title tag, and there are multiple different types of tags, types of metadata, and we will go over that as well. So right here, this is for BIS Designs actually. So you can see at the top, there is in the purple, which is what you normally click on when you're on Google, that's going to be the title tag. So that has, you want it to be very clean and concise. I'm pretty sure most practices, the best practices that you do with SEO and with the metadata for the title tag, you really don't want to have more than 60 characters. You want to have it short and concise, because if you think about it, when people go to Google and they see a website, and if we had, for instance, something that really didn't describe our business, people are less likely to click on it. If they're looking for a marketing company, they're looking for web design, they're going to want to click on our website and our search, because it showcases what they're looking for. So that is very important. For instance, if you are in the AC industry or you own a retail company, making sure that you put what each page is really about is very important. So it isn't just the home page. This practice is done for every single page on your website, your blog, your home page, maybe your contact us, but making sure that you have what that page is about and what the company embodies is very important. Another thing you want to add in the meta title is the cities. So basically what Google does is, in all search engines, for search engine optimization, they crawl the back end of your site, and if you don't have what cities you are trying to target. Now most of our customers and clients are all worried about, local SEO, of course, because they really want to target Baldwin County or Mobile, wherever it may be. You really want to include the cities that you're wanting to target, because it drastically affects where you show up. For instance, if we didn't necessarily put any cities in our title tags, we're less likely to show up for people that are in Pensacola and typing in web design. So it's a really great practice, and it's very simple, just to add your cities that you want to target, but also staying in the minimum of 60 characters for the meta title. So the meta description is really going to be almost like your call to action. On social media and other marketing avenues, you always want to have a call to action. Well, that is the same with Google search and with search engines. You want to have a short snippet of what they're going to find on the page. If you only have about 5 seconds to grab someone's attention, so if you don't have exactly what your page is going to be about in that meta description, people are likely to not click on your page. So it's very important. Sometimes you can include your phone number in it, and that's a great addition to your meta description, but definitely making sure that you include the correct information in that little snippet that shows up on Google search rankings is very important. And it's really important to Google as well. And so the meta keywords, basically what the meta keywords is what people are searching. So for meta keywords, when you type into the search bar, let's say you're looking for restaurants near me or Thai restaurants, for example, just a random example. When you type that in, you want to make sure on the back end of your site with the metadata that you include those keywords. And a lot of what we do as a digital marketing company that we kind of offer that is very, very important to optimizing your website is the research on the keywords. You don't necessarily want to just be picking what you think is best. A lot of what we do, we take on is doing that in-depth research on those keywords to see which ones have the higher volume, because you don't want to be wasting. You don't want to have a wasted opportunity to outrank your competitors. So let's go over some types of keywords. So for keywords, we have, which more of what we focus on, and with the client, most of our clients, is the local, but you have the national keywords. So for instance, you may want to use, let's say you want to see the results for restaurants. So you just simply put in restaurant, and you're going to be, that is more of a national Google search. So you may pull up some national chains, people that are trying to rank nationally. And then you also have the local keywords. So the local keywords, you know, like I said, with the metadata, you want to include that city. So for instance, here you can see we put restaurants Pensacola, Florida. So it really helps increase the traffic that you're going to be getting in Pensacola if you include Pensacola in your keywords, in your title tags. It really does make a difference because, you know, Google, the way Google works is they really, all they see is the back end of your site. And like Philip said, they're constantly changing, constantly evolving all the time. You know, every month they may have some new update. So making sure that you have as much detail in your keyword optimization, your metadata, is extremely important. So you can really climb to the top of the search rankings and also stay there, because you don't want to drop back down. So the next one is to add content. And this really goes off a lot of what Philip was talking about with the blog. So a blog is a great way to add content to your site. So for instance, something that Google wouldn't want you to do and may negatively affect you is if you don't have your site updated, you don't have, you know, some type of content that you're constantly updating. When they see that, they use that and they can actually penalize you. So a blog is not only a great way to really put the information that you have about your business and kind of increase your credibility, but it's also a great way to update your website. And a blog, I mean, really what so many people are looking, and you know, one of the craziest statistics is the biggest thing on YouTube, you know, the biggest search term is how to. So people are really looking for additional information about your business, but also adding content. If you have a new service you're offering, let's say you have new employees, it is really important that you are constantly adding that new content to your site. And like Philip said, it could be as little as 300 to 500 words, but I would say a minimum of 300 words is the best practice for SEO optimization. But adding that content, that blog, it's very simple, and it really increases your credibility of your business and also keeps your site updating. And that kind of goes right into number 3, which is updating your website. So there's nothing more frustrating when you go to a website on Google. Let's say you type in, you're looking for some service, plumbing, for example. You go on the website and your phone number is not working, or let's say they have services on there or pricing on there that is not correct. So it is very important to update your website. And the number 2 and 3 really just go hand in hand together, because it is so important to make sure that you have accurate information, that you're constantly updating it, because the people that you are getting from Google, you want to make sure that the information they're receiving is the right information, because nothing's more frustrating than going on Google, clicking on a website, spending time on a website and not being able to reach the people, or it being false information. And also, for updating your website, the best SEO practices show really you need to kind of revamp your whole website and kind of go back for SEO practices. It's really about every 3 to 5 years. You want to go back, you want to look at what you have. Maybe it's adding new videos, like Philip said, image and videos. Most of the time, updating those is one of the easiest things you can do. Investing in a great video that showcases your services, what you stand for, kind of tells the story, is a great thing to update on your website, to add to your website. And also, it's a piece of content that you can actually use in multiple avenues of marketing. So it is a great way to bring people to your site, but also you can use those images and those videos on social media, on YouTube, on so many different avenues. So that is a great way to update your site, is a blog, maybe getting a revamp of the design, but just keeping it up to date is very important, because like we said, Google, they are constantly changing their algorithms.
Hey, Kenley, I had a question here that related to suggesting that blogs relevant to are blogs relative for all businesses, and we'd want to speak specifically, but I would say yes, 100%, because if the blog is properly written, you're gaining, again, 2 different audiences. One audience is the consumer who would be interested in your content. And again, it's got to be, I always think about whenever, we're writing a blog, WIFM, what's in it for me? You have to write the blog and capture information like 5 things you need to know before buying a new car, 5 things you need to know before doing X, Y, or Z. Those are the very most popular type blogs. They're short, they're sweet. You can read them. They're 300 to 500 words. You can read them in 2 or 3 minutes. You can capture. You want to do bullet points so they can capture the key concepts quickly. That draws them to you. And then secondly, those words that you're putting on your web page help you rank higher in the search engines. So I went ahead and just handled that. Sorry, Kenley. I'll turn you back on.
No, that was great. That was great. And number 4, so linking. Linking is a huge part of SEO, and it a lot of times is something that a lot of businesses don't use. They don't practice the importance of linking. They don't really understand how important it is. And really, it is as simple as just adding a hyperlink in your web pages. For example, here, this is a example of linking out. So you can see here, they just have it in their paragraph. And basically, when someone clicks on that, it's going to link out to another website. Now, the reason this is so important, and it was something that I really had to do a lot of research on when I started to dive into SEO, is the credibility of the website you're linking to. For example, you don't necessarily want to go in on your website and just link out to, Wikipedia articles or articles from from a magazine. You really want to try and stick with scholarly sources, .gov, .org, all of the sources, maybe not necessarily a ton of blogs, because you want to make sure that you're linking to sites that are credible, that the information is correct, because Google will actually penalize you. So they actually will know, they'll pick up, basically it's almost like they get a red flag on your website, and it'll basically tell them, hey, this website has a bunch of links that are linking out, but they are not to credible websites. They're fake websites. They're not relative to their business, and it'll actually penalize you, and that will actually go against you moving up, and you could really go down in ranking. So you have to be careful about what you link to, but it is very, very important and very effective. The next one is internal links. So internal linking, instead of linking out, you are going to be linking in on your own website. So basically, on your, let's say on your blog post, for example, like Philip talked about, at the bottom of the blog post, you could see where we had linked to another blog post on the same website. So for example here, this is an example from BIS. You see that we have multiple links that'll go to different services we offer. So for example, if someone is, we'll just stick with the plumbing, if someone is on a plumbing website and they're reading about a certain service, about repairs, you know, and in the content and at the bottom, it has links to their other services they offer, or maybe blog posts that someone may be curious in. It's a great way to drive traffic on your website, to keep people engaged, and for search engine optimization, it's one of the biggest tools to get your site to rank higher. It's very, very important, and it's very simple. Very simple. It doesn't require you doing any research on linking out, of course. And then the backlinking. So the backlinking is very similar to the linking out. So you see here is the vacation beach portal, and what they have is the websites for the visit website and the request info. So right there, you can click on either one of those, and then there you go. You're right at another page. So linking is very important, and it is one of those strategies for SEO that really can be done by anyone if you do it correctly and efficiently, and it really can benefit your rankings on Google and help you get up there on the first page. So the headers. So headers is another practice and another strategy of SEO that is very important. For example, if you have your service page, let's say we'll just use the plumbing again. Let's say that they have a repairs page. On your website, you would really think you could just type all your information out. You can just put all of it on there and then just hit publish and it's live. But actually, one of the biggest practices is the headers for SEO. So basically, when Google looks at your website, they want to see a hierarchy of your information. So for example, on a web page, you normally see the title, which is the biggest font. It's exactly what the page is going to be about. You know exactly what you're going to be reading about. So that'll be like the H1 tag. So that's the main heading. So Google knows, okay, this information is going to be about this. And then you move down to your H2 tags and your H2 headers. So that'll be maybe the sub paragraph below the main heading. And the reason it's so important, not only is it important just to Google to kind of be able to organize the information and make sure that the information is relative to your website, it's also really much more appealing to visitors because when you're on a website, if there is no, I can't tell you how many times I'll click on a blog post, click on a website from social media, and I'll scroll and I won't see any headings and I'll get off of it because the headings are what catches people's eyes. And it really breaks that information up. So it's not just one large paragraph. People know when they scroll and they stop and they see the subheading, they know exactly what they're going to be looking for, whether it's, oh, let's talk about pricing, or, this is more information about us. You know exactly what you're looking at because it gets so jumbled up when people go to a website, they have no headers, and they're just scrolling, and people don't really want to read, an 800-word web page if there's no headers, because it just really makes it easier for the users to navigate through your information, and it helps Google as well on the back end with when they go through your site. So it is another one of those practices that may seem a little difficult to do on your own, but really it is very beneficial, and it really provides better user experience for your viewers, and also it's very important for Google as well when they review your site. So the next one is going to be the alt text on your images. So this is something that really is forgotten a lot. And I know Philip had mentioned how important it is to label your images in your videos. So here, this is a great example. So here you can see on the left, you have picture of student. So, I mean, that's great. At least you know what you're looking at. So you think, oh, that's a good description. And then on the right, you can see a way more detailed description. Postgraduate engineering student working in the new electron mini microscope. Yeah, that's very, very detailed. And that is something that you really want to make sure you do, because just like the keywords and the meta tags that we went over and the meta descriptions, those are very important, but also labeling your images with alt text is just as important, making sure that you include some keywords in there as well. For example, if someone was to look up the engineering student working, or electron mini microscope, they would be able to see that on Google. It would possibly rise their rankings for that keyword. But on the left, picture of a student, it doesn't do any justice. So basically, it's almost like a wasted image. So make sure that you have those images labeled as specific as you can, and include some keywords in there as well.
Kenley, before you move any further, there was a question that came in that was about how long does it take to see SEO results? Yeah,
so we're actually going to go over that probably more towards the end. We are going to go over some of that. So if you just stay tuned, and I'm sure we will cover your question. And if not, we can go over it, of course, a ton more.
Awesome.
But it is included in the presentation. So another great thing.
One other issue. Hold on, Kenley. One other issue. A guy had made a comment. He was looking at one of the websites we developed, and he saw some alt tag issues. And note that you're going to see that on every website to some degree, and a lot of our clients don't take advantage of our SEO services, and so you will see that. I mean, if you look at anybody's, you need to, in order to really to form a correct analysis of what's going on, you kind of almost have to know what services they've purchased, because again, a lot of people will buy just a website, and with that, you're not going to get all of the work that it takes to, for it to be what we call SEO optimized. Just for clarification out there for everybody, because I think that SEO is probably one of the most misunderstood topics in all of marketing. I think it's magic to a lot of people, and I'll speak to that here in just a few minutes too. I've got a couple of ideas I want to share with you guys.
Awesome. Yes. So number 7, jumping right back in, is the setting up of the social media site. So I like to think of SEO as a full circle throughout marketing. So some of the really important aspects of the searches and SEO practices is getting traffic from other avenues. So what better way to do that than setting up your social media site? And I know, I'm sure a lot of you have them set up, making sure, to utilize your social media to drive traffic, because another big practice and another big strategy that Google really uses with and all search engines use for SEO and to show your rankings and to increase those rankings is to get the traffic to your website. So when you set up your social media sites, of course, adding your website, but also adding that call to action on your post. Put your website in that call to action, get people to drive to your website, get that traffic to your website. Google will pick up and they will see that more people are visiting your website, and they will also, see how long they visited, and that is another huge aspect of SEO. So it's something that we really push when people have new websites, is to get your social media site set up and then use the social media to promote your new website, because it is a lot harder for Google to see how well you're performing with your users on a new website when they have less traffic. So set up those social media sites, simply add your URL into your post. Let's say, if you're active on social media, boost the post, whatever you would like. You don't even have to do that, but it'll get more people to your website, and that's just another lost opportunity if you don't have your website correctly advertised on your social media site. So utilize that free tool to get more people to the site and get that traffic up. So let's talk about claiming listings. So claiming listings is, a lot of people don't realize that it's a part of SEO and optimization and really SEO strategies. And it is a big part of what we do with our clients. For certain packages we offer, we include the claiming listings in there. It's very important because you want people to be able to find your correct information on all different listing sites. For example, I'm going to talk a lot about Google My Business, but there are so many different sites that people go to. Let's say even on your map, Home Advisor, what else? There Angie's List. Even though they're not as common nowadays as Google and search, it's very important, and I want to make sure everyone knows how important it is to have all of your listings claimed on the websites you believe that you're going to get business from, and making sure that you have the correct information is very important. So let's jump into Google My Business. So you kind of saw what it looked like when Phillip went over how the structure of Google when you first type something in. So this is Google My Business, and this is our listing. So we use us as an example to kind of show you a bunch of different tools that they actually have for free. So Google My Business, to claim your listing is very simple. So you want to claim your location. If you have multiple locations, you want to claim multiple, you want to claim all of them. It is another tool that Google offers that you can showcase so many different aspects of your business, and it's free. It's completely free. So first, that you can see the photos. So at the top, when you type in, let's say, restaurants near me or in Robertsdale or plumbing, whatever, your listing will pop up. And you want to have a picture of your business. You want to show people that you have a physical location. You want to, some people like to include a photo that has their logo in it. It kind of increases the validity of your business, and the credibility of your business. And also, people love photos. People want to see, pictures of your storefront, if you have a storefront, or maybe the products you offer right there. Also, you can link to your website. So there's a website button. This is another free tool and a free way to get people to go to your website. People all the time will look something up on their phone, they're scrolling, and they don't even realize that they're actually in the Google My Business section. And I can't tell you how many times I just click right there on the website button to get right to their website. So a lot of times people don't even make it down to the organic search. So you want to make sure that your Google My Business listing has your website connected. You can even have the directions added in. It's crazy the amount of accessories and tools that are in Google My Business that really can impact your rankings on Google My Business and just on Google in general. You can also see lower down is the Google reviews. I can't say it enough how important the getting Google reviews is. So for Google, although it does not affect your organic search, your reviews does not affect that, it is very, very important to have Google reviews, especially if you're wanting to top your competitors. If your competitors have 280 Google reviews and you have none, that is a strategy. Getting people to leave reviews is another great, it's not necessarily linked with SEO, but it's a great marketing strategy to really boost your business and your credibility. I mean, people click on these reviews and they're right there. It's just one button and then there you go. You can read all about what people are saying about your business. It's very public knowledge. There's no fake reviews. They don't delete that. They don't really delete bad reviews. So it's a very authentic way to read more about a business. Also, you can put the category you're in. So for example, BIS is computer support and services in Robertsdale. So you know right when you click on their listing exactly what they do. So there's no having to search around. And if you have that information on there and you utilize the category section, you're really only going to get people that are interested in your business to visit your website, which is very important as well, because in return, they're more likely to stay on your website. You know, they're hopefully more likely to be in your target market. And you can also include, you'll put your address in there, your full address, and that kind of correlates with the directions button as well. Your hours of operation. So if you have hours, let's say you have hours that are different every day, you can adjust those so that it is, you know, actual information that is correct. So not only that goes right along with your website. So there is tons of information that you can add to your Google My Business listing. Another thing you can do is actually add events. So let's say you have an open house that you're doing for your business. Add it to your Google My Business listing, because when people go to search, whether it's for your business or for a certain keyword that's within your industry, they can pull an event that you created off of Facebook, and it can actually be promoted and put on Google My Business, which is a great tool, especially if you're utilizing social media already. You might as well go ahead and add the event to Google. You can even import the reviews from Facebook, and they can be shown on your Google My Business listing. So they are going to be different than the Google My Business Google reviews, but it is an awesome way. If you are someone that has hundreds of reviews or more reviews on Facebook, you can still use those on Google, which is awesome. Another great tool and another great section on Google My Business is the description of your business. So before people even call or go to your website, they have the ability to read a synopsis of what your business is about. Maybe it's the products you offer or the services, or just a little bit about you, because people still do like to feel connected to a business in some way. So the description, you know, go ahead and utilize that. And a lot of you guys, I'm sure, have a section like this on your website. So just take that and put it right on your listing, and it's another great tool, and it's free. So why would you not use it? Another great option that you can have with the Google My Business listings is posts. So I know they are not as prevalent as they used to be, but if you are making, for instance, you can see here, if you're making a social media graphic and you're posting it across all social media channels, go ahead and take that and post it on your Google My Business listing. It is going to be down when people click on your listing. They will scroll down a little bit, not too far, and you can see all the posts. For example, one of our clients, we post on their Google My Business, the posts that we do on social media, and they get about 150 views. So it is a great way, and you can actually add an update. You can actually add a link to your website so people can look at that post and just click right to it. So it's an awesome addition to the Google My Business tools. Another great tool is messaging. So actually, if you wanted to download an app, let's say you have people that message your Google My Business, and you know it's really a big tool that you use, or you're looking for an easier way for people to get a hold of your business, they actually offer messages. So people can message your business right there, and they have an app. You'll just download it, and every time someone messages your Google My Business, you will get a notification. So it's super simple, especially if you're a type of business that relies a lot on, let's say, email communication or texting. This is a great additive for sure for your business. So that is just a little screenshot that we have that, of course, you can use to go ahead and set up your Google My Business if you have not done so. It is very simple, very easy to follow these steps, and that is how you will claim your Google My Business and set it all up. We have that for you right there. So let's talk about Google Guarantee. So Google Guarantee is something that is newer to Google. It is a new service. It goes along with the local service ads, which we'll talk about as well for a little bit about. So what Google Guarantee is, Google created it about 2 years ago. It was just a small section of Google that they basically created to weed out the businesses that are in certain industries that were not necessarily qualified. People were going on Google to find these businesses and they weren't licensed. So they developed Google Guarantee, which is actually available at the top of Google. So above the paid ads, you will actually be shown above those. And there is the badge right here on the right. So basically what you have to do, if you are in one of these industries, and it is growing and growing, so there is a variety of industries that can participate in Google Guarantee. Mostly, they created this for people that visit their customers' homes. And what you have to do is, to get the Google Guarantee badge, you have to go through background checks. All of your employees that visit people's homes, you'll have to submit your license and insurance verifications. And once you are approved, you'll get that Google Guarantee badge, and then you can start using their local service ad program. So this is we've seen, great success with this with clients. Although it only is in about 20 industries, from what Google has said and told us, it's growing like crazy. It started off in California, and now it is in almost every state and region. So Google local service ads is different than paid ads, than the pay-per-click Google ads. So the reason it is different is you only get charged per phone call. So for example, if someone types in AC repair and they click on your Google local service ad, which is at the top of Google, when they click on that, you will only get charged when the call is placed, which is great. It's a very great addition to Google services because it's not as expensive, I guess you could say. It's not as expensive as necessarily the Google ads can be, because you can be paying, people have above $5,000 budget for the Google ads and the pay-per-click, but the local service ads, it's very great, and it's been very beneficial for the small businesses that in the local businesses to get more leads, and normally it is more of a way to weed out the people who may not necessarily want your services. So they're normally going to be the ones that are looking for your service. They need your help, but it is a great new addition to Google. And if you have any questions about that, of course, you can always ask us, because there's tons of more information on the local service ad. And then in addition to Google and the Google My Business is the Bing business listing. So it's very similar to Google. You can go in there and claim your listing. It's not as prevalent and as used, but you can go to this website, go in there and claim it. And we do suggest you do that, just like we suggest you claim your listing on any site that you may be getting business from. Make sure all your information is correct. But claiming those listings is very, very important. So now you're on top. You've optimized your site. You've done a lot of the practices. So what do you do now? So that is a big misconception, and kind of something that one of you guys asked. But you've got to stay on top. So you've done all this work. You've added a blog. You've optimized your site, but you get to number one, but you want to stay there. So we're going to go over some common SEO mistakes that people may be doing, or some mistakes that we have seen in the past that really can negatively affect you and bring you back down, that you really want to avoid. So not enough words. So this can really hurt you, and I went over this already with the adding content to your site and the blog. You want to add enough words. So just throwing some random content onto your website, although it may seem like it's helping your website, in the long term it's not going to, because basically what Google does is they're constantly looking at your website, constantly analyzing it, and if they see that you don't have enough words on your site, but you're updating it, it won't affect you positively. It can actually affect you negatively. So making sure that you have, 300 to 500 words on those pages you're adding is very important for Google. Duplicate content. So duplicate content is one of the biggest things that can bring your rankings down. So you may be doing all these other practices. You may be instilling, alt text on your images and all these other avenues of SEO. But if you are copying words, let's say from another part of your website, and you're just putting it on a new page, or you're copying words from another website and just putting it directly on your page, that is a big thing you want to stay away from. Google will pick up on that. They will pick up very quickly if you are stealing words from another website, or you just basically duplicated a page and put maybe a different image on it. They will pick up on that, and that will push your rankings down. So just stay away from duplicating your content, and try to just diversify the words slightly, and that really will also make a difference. So this kind of touches on the question we had earlier. So assuming you're going to get to the top of Google quickly, this is a big misconception that a lot of people have about SEO. But really, with all of these different technical practices, some of them being small things that you can do your website, and some of them being very technical, it takes time to see results. For example, if you have a brand new website and you are doing everything you can, you are following all of the guidelines, for SEO, you're optimizing your site as best as possible, and you're still not seeing results, you're still not seeing yourself on the first page, it is a marathon. It is not a sprint with SEO. It takes time because you have so many different competitors that you're up against, Some fields, you know, thousands of people are doing the exact same thing that you're doing. So you are competing for a spot, that number one spot on Google. You want to be at the top. There are thousands of other people that are usually competing with you. So it's really about being patient. Results come, you know, sometimes they come slower than others, but making sure that you're just consistently doing these practices, you will see results. You will. And another mistake that a lot of people make is not measuring their website, their results from their website. Google Analytics is a free tool. It is great. Every website we have has Google Analytics installed on it and installed. And basically what you can do on Google Analytics is, gosh, you could see everything from what page people are viewing, who's viewing, how many people are viewing a certain page. Maybe that'll show you what pages are optimized the best or have the best content on them. Let's say you want to see how a video is performing. You can even go in there and see how long someone has watched your video or how long someone has been on your website. And it is a great tool to see kind of where you might want to focus your SEO strategies on. So if you have some websites that aren't necessarily, or some pages that aren't necessarily performing as well, you can look in analytics and see, you know, where are they coming from and how long were they on the page, and that'll kind of give you more of an insight of what exactly you need to do, whether it's adjusting your content, maybe adding some more headings, maybe adding a video on there to keep people enticed on that page. But it is a great tool. It's free, and you can sign up for free. And if you don't have it installed and you don't know where to start, we will be happy to help you with it. But it is a great tool, and it's free, easy to use, and there's tons of information about your audience and the user experience on your website.
Yep. Well, thank you, Kenley. I think I'll kind of do a little bit of a summary of kind of what we've talked about today. I think for me, as far as really kind of, I'm going to identify with a lot of people on the call. You know, we're trying to spend our money wisely, and we're trying to get a return on investment. And I think of anything I've learned over the years through marketing is how to do that. And the cool thing is there's a lot of tools out there that can tell you. I've gotten really pretty strict on myself and our team about, whether, like, if you're going to engage in a search engine optimization campaign, you need to know who your competitors are. You need to know how much money they're spending, what keywords. And I talked about strategy earlier about, a particular client that's literally spending 10 times more than what a client of ours could spend. So, we felt like it was prudent to go ahead and move forward with a very specific strategy. And one of the things is that's really important is, going in there. And for instance, this particular company had, they had like 50 keywords they were paying for on pay-per-click. So, we are, there's no way that this client had the budget for it. So what we did is we did the back end research to determine, not only to know how much they're spending so that you can kind of tell how you're going to develop that strategy. And, but we went in and we picked the very most popular words, 3 or 4 of them, and spent their budget on that. And like, if you were to look at ratio of clicks, it's 10 to 1 on those very popular words that they are using. So in essence, we're being very savvy. Now, of course, they just may have a big budget and they're not watching their pennies. But SEO, like pay-per-click SEO, is, you can lose your butt quick, and you better go into it knowing what your competitors are spending to see if you're even going to be able to compete. And secondly, knowing that what strategy you're going to put forth, and you got to watch that really on a daily basis. So it's really important, I think, to get the data, to have a framework of what you're trying to accomplish, to set, what's the lifetime value of a client, set your expectations to say, okay, if I spend this money, I need to somehow track to get 1, 2, 3 clients per month. Set something that's reasonable, and set your expenses on something that, and then track it to see if you're able to actually get a return on investment. We've gotten a lot better on that. I think a lot of marketing companies are, they basically give you the sense that, if you buy it or if you build it, they will come, and that's really not the reality of it. There's a lot of data that's out there that needs to be thought of, and then setting a realistic expectation, budget, and also a very big thing that's often overlooked is the tracking to know whether that click turned into a sale, and so on and so forth. So that's the kind of things. And for everybody on the call, we're offering a free digital marketing website analysis, and we'll do just that with you. We're going to look at what you got. We're going to look at your competitors, going to show you what keywords you're actually showing up for, showing where you're actually ranking, because I'll tell a horrible marketing joke. The best place to hide a body, you can put it in the chat. I'll leave it open for a second. But where's the best place to hide a body? Somebody can text, and I'll keep talking, and I'll see if anybody gets it. But we're going to go and take you through those processes to show you really what's real, and what you can expect, help you to do some things a lot of times small business owners never actually do, is try to understand what is the lifetime value of a client. I learned early on from a competitor of ours on not really even a competitor, but a national company that came on. Man, they worked for about 2.5, 3 years, and they sold for $15 million. And I actually got to speak with the CEO of that company at an event that I was at a peer group meeting that I was at in Nashville, and the guy told me, all you got to know is how much it costs to get a client. And at the time, be honest with you, this was years ago, I really and truly didn't fully get that or grasp that. But if you knew that it cost $1 to get a client, and every client you got was $3 in your pocket, well, you'd probably go out and rob a bank if you ever could figure out that formula. And that's what we want to try to help you arrive at with this free digital marketing web analysis. And we'll do, look at your website, make sure that you're mobile optimized. We're going to do an SEO analysis, as well as an SMM or social media marketing analysis to see, if there's any areas of improvement out there, and ultimately show you where you're going to rank. So nobody answered, nobody texted on my joke, but oh wait, got somebody. The best place to hide a body is on the second page of Google. Dun dun dun. I don't know. We got any questions, Christy? Anything that we need to deal with before we end this?
Yeah, I think Josh was about to open up some questions. I know he was moderating today, and we're also going to pop the link in. We have a survey that we'd really like for you to take for us, guys. If you don't mind, just take about 5 minutes. We're going to be raffling off a gift card to a local restaurant, and it'll be announced on social media. So I'm going to pop that into the chat. It'll also go out in the email. So Josh, questions?
Yeah. So some of the questions that were sent to me, number one was, should I post on my Google My Business, and how often should I post on my Google My Business profile?
I'm gonna talk for just a second on that profile, and then I'm gonna let Kenley take off. Google My Business is not where people are getting their social media feed. Kenley, does that help them in SEO by posting on Google My Business?
Yeah, it's really the biggest benefit of Google My Business, and it doesn't have to be a main strategy that you have right now, but the biggest benefit is it just is another place to have a post and have your website linked to send people to your website. They do expire after 7 days. So if you're posting, if you're just go ahead, if you already have content made, you already have a post made, you might as well go ahead and throw it on there, because right there, you know, it's just another missed opportunity. If you have the opportunity to link to your website, let's just say 3 people from there went to your website, that's when it'll help with SEO. But posting there, other than that, it does not affect your SEO, your organic ranking, but it could possibly bring people to your website.
Right.
Okay. And another question was, what sites should I link out to if I don't want to drive traffic off of my site?
Okay. I will say that from kind of just a rule of thumb, and Chris Kenley can probably straighten me up a little bit on this, but rule of thumb, like on a blog, for instance, if you're going to write a blog, normally you want to pop it out to someone, of course, who's not your competitor, but someone who has authority. For instance, you know, for us on a digital marketing blog, we may want to pop out and go to HubSpot, or we want to go to from an IT perspective to Microsoft, or you know, someone who has a high ranking. So you want to go out, and you don't want it to take them inside, take them to their page. You want it to be a pop out. So basically your page is still up. That's one thing. And I usually say on a blog, a couple of link outs to some strategic things that are relative to the conversation that you're having. And then you want to have probably 2 or 3 internal linkings was kind of what I was under the impression, but Kenley can probably elaborate on that.
Yeah, exactly. You nailed it. You nailed it, Philip. But yes, you want to make sure that you're linking to people that have relevant, the relevant content to what you're posting, but also have, like Philip said, the authority. It's very important. So if you are, in a certain industry and you know that there are websites out there that are very popular, have very high traffic, they're always popping up, above everybody, linking to those kind of sites that have like relevant information to what you're posting is great, because it shows Google that you're linking to websites that have high authority, but also that are very credible and drive that have a lot of traffic driven to them. And it doesn't mean that every external link that you put in there has to be to large websites, but it does help because those kind of sites are normally the ones that have the most credible and they have the most credible information, and they already have that authority with Google since they're so high up on rankings.
Okay, and the final question is going back to the one I asked earlier: is how long should it take before I see results on my SEO? And Philip, if you could also elaborate on the setting of expectations and what expectations should business owners have when they go into investing in SEO.
That's right. And that's really going to be relative a lot to the industry and the vertical and your competitors and the geographic reach that you're trying to touch. If you are in a market that is small and that's all, like if you're a shop and you're just trying to, connect to people in Fairhope, it's a whole different animal than if you're trying to connect to the Southeast, a whole different animal on expectation. And also, for your marketing company to set the expectation on what you need to spend. I'll go back to what I said earlier. You really need to go do the math to see how much you're going to gain by gaining a client. And I always start off really small. I have the fire bullets, not cannons. Forget a book I read that talked about ultimately a famous battle where the one ship was just gonna destroy the other ship with one shot. Well, they missed the damn boat, And whereas if they would have, you know, fired some smaller cannons, they'd have had some powder left. So you want to do that. You want to get your process set up. You want to make sure that you're using a call to action. It's something that I always press our clients for is, gosh, man, we got to have a call to action. We need a promotion. We need something. And then we need your team to track that promotion so that whenever that happens, that event happens, you mark it down so that you can know, hey, we got that off of that, so that it's a way to justify your spend. So I think that's really, really, really important. And yeah, I'll just say as a fellow entrepreneur for you guys, I think this market's going to come back pretty quickly for a lot of us, or it's not, right? And either we'll all be broke together, or the ones who are going to jump out front and start moving and getting to work are the ones that are going to benefit the most. If everybody else is sitting down, we need to be up running. And you can ask my staff. I've been running us like a rented mule over these past 4 to 6 weeks, just because I've had some opportunities to, you know, work on the business. So take advantage of this time, get your marketing plans together, take advantage of what we're offering you for free. I promise it'll be worth your time.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. So once again, I'd like to reiterate the free digital marketing analysis that we're having, that also is being combined with a marketing strategy session, where we would like to come in and just help you and help your business out, help you figure out what are the best investments for your business, go over the SEO, and also that survey, that link that is in the chat. If you would, please remember to fill that out. We are also giving away a $50 gift card for those who complete that survey. It'll be a random draw. So hopefully everyone completes that survey. I'm looking at a chat right now. Do you all recommend any particular books from Nicole Moats?
Christy would be really good. I don't know, Kenley, you may have some things. Christy is, you know, a lot of marketing books. I read a lot of business strategy books. I tell you, if you're going to run a great company, there's a book called Good to Great. And then there is that's by Gino Wickman. I'll type it in the box there. Good to Great by Gino Wickman. No, that's by, what I want to say was, then the follow-up to that is Traction. That's by Gino Wickman. Any other things, guys?
Yeah. Made to Stick's a really good book. I can't remember who wrote it. I think it's like Chip and something. But Made to Stick is really good, and it talks about your sticky message, and then also story branding. What is it called? Is it called story branding?
Storyboarding. That's a great one too. I've read that one too.
Yep.
Our story branding, hold on a second, I'll look it up, because that is important, guys. That is this particular book. It goes with the philosophy of really, you know, to me, I think marketing is a war of attrition to a large degree. You want to continue doing the right things, and eventually people will come your way. And it is indeed story branding. All right, guys. Well, thank you so much for spending your morning with us. Y'all have a great afternoon, and we'll be signing off here.
All right.
Bye, everyone. Have a great day.